What's going on, people? Welcome back to Off the Shelves. It has been a while since I have done one of these. I actually kind of gave up on this little segment, this little Blu-ray haul segment, because I didn't like keeping my Blu-rays for an entire month off into a corner so I could do a video, and the views were never really quite there, I'll be honest. But I've had so many of you guys message me and leave comments asking where Off the Shelves is that I decided to bring it back. So I'm actually going to try to bring this back full time, where I do it the beginning of every single month, talk about the shit that I bought last month, and as long as the views don't tank, which I don't imagine they will, I'll be bringing this back as a monthly segment. So give the people what they want, right? So this is going to be an episode where I'm going to talk about everything I got for Christmas as well as the month of January. So I didn't put these movies in any kind of order. I used to do like new releases and old releases and 4Ks. Fuck all that shit. Fuck it. We'll do it live. So I have a couple of stacks right here. We're just going to go random. So you never know what you're going to get. First off is the 4K Blu-ray for Step Brothers. I actually bought this for Holly because this is like one of her favorite comedies of all time. It's one of my favorite comedies of all time as well too. For somebody that doesn't really love everything that Will Ferrell does, and for somebody that is very hit and miss as far as stupid comedies go, Step Brothers is awesome. It's a movie that it utilizes the comedic chemistry of these two guys to its fullest potential, and it's one of those movies that if you get the humor, it's just one of the most quotable things on earth. So one of my favorites, glad to finally have it. Is it worth buying in 4K? Probably not, but I'm a whore, so I did anyway. Go out and buy this one. Comedy classic. Throw that bitch there. Oh, I'm gonna open myself up to some serious tongue lashings in the comment section. The 4K Blu-ray of Schindler's List, a film that I have never seen before. Yeah, I've never had the desire to watch it for some reason. I know it's a beloved classic. It's one of Spielberg's most critically acclaimed films. But it's just, for whatever reason, this is one that slipped through the cracks, but I figured I would rectify that. Holly, one of her classes in college last year, was talking about this movie and kind of the Holocaust era, so she really wanted to see it. So we both passed it in the store. I was like, hey, pick that up, put it in the cart. So I don't have a rating for this, but I will be watching it soon. On to a movie that I have seen, such a switch. Cliffhanger, the 4K Blu-ray of this, kind of the same story as all the other 4Ks for these older movies. Does it justify the 4K? Probably not, but I'm a whore, so I bought it anyway. One of those classic, this is a Rennie Harlin film. If you know Rennie Harlin, you know what you're getting into. It's an over-the-top, ridiculous action film with a nice over-the-top villain performance by John Lithgow, and Sylvester Stallone's the fucking man. So I haven't seen this in years, so I hesitate to give a rating for it because I have no recollection of most of the movie. I just know that I enjoyed it quite a bit growing up. So stay tuned for that one, I guess. One that I wish I watched before I did this video, but I have not had a chance yet. I bought this strictly off of the recommendations of Brian Lomax, and that is Black Klansman. I believe it's nominated for Best Picture and Best Director and everything else too, so critically speaking, it's a very good movie. It's intriguing. It's a Spike Lee movie, so I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with his films, but we'll see. It looks like it might be a cool movie to check out. I bought the 4K. Like I said, strictly off of Brian's recommendation because I trust his taste quite a bit, and we align perfectly more often than we aligned oppositely. So, don't have a rating for that one. The Suspiria remake. This is a movie that's complicated because I really like the original Suspiria. I don't love it as much as everybody else, but I didn't grow up with it. I actually watched it for the first time about a year and a half ago. It's just one of those movies that slipped under the radar for me. But I watched the original, liked it for the most part. It was a little overhyped for me. You get to this one, and I'll say this. I appreciate the hell out of the fact that this movie goes in a completely different direction than the original movie from the start. I've always said if you're going to remake a classic especially, go in an opposite direction so you're not automatically comparing yourself with the original. You're not trying to redo a classic because it just never works out. And most of this movie is very good. Filmed brilliantly, acted very well, very creepy. It gets to a certain point where it's just full-on gore fest, which is awesome. The one aspect of this movie that holds it back, aside from the runtime, which could be alleviated by removing the main thing, is that there is a secondary character that Tilda Swinton plays who is a man who is like a psychologist, and he's looking for his wife, and there's this Holocaust backstory and side story going on that, in my opinion, does not belong in this film. It's distracting when you realize it's Tilda Swinton, and I realized it pretty quickly. And aside from that, the side story with this Holocaust stuff does not mesh at all with the themes or the storyline going on inside this ballet school. So I believe if you remove that character and that storyline from this movie completely, I would probably prefer this remake to the original, honestly. But as it stands, I'm going to give it a see it on Netflix just because it's a very taxing movie to watch. I mean, this is like close to 3 hours long. It's like 2.5 at least. But it is worth the price of admission. I think that it's just a see it on Netflix is safe for this. A very high see it on Netflix because most people are going to compare it to the original. Most people are going to walk into it expecting shit because they hate remakes. And most people are not going to be patient enough to get through that 2.5, 3 hour runtime because of how many tangents it takes that's away from the main storyline. But I really enjoyed this. I look forward to rewatching the original and kind of comparing this again with some fresh eyes. But I would recommend checking it out, especially if you're a fan of the original. It's not a full-on like stock remake. There's a lot of different directions. This is one that I just bought because I enjoyed it quite a bit. Holly enjoyed it quite a bit. And I had never seen this one before. And that is The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Actually, Brian Lomax and Drum Dums dropped their reviews for this today, and that was part of a conversation we were having on our little chat about this film. I was the only person in Scream Stream, I believe, that had never seen it before, so I was like, fuck it. I was bored one night, I threw it on, it was free on Amazon Prime, so I enjoyed it quite a bit and ended up buying it. So I'd give this a go out and buy it because it pretty much delivers on everything the movie says it's going to deliver upon. Rebecca De Mornay is sexy and scary. The two parents are very good. It goes into some pretty dark directions, so I like this one quite a bit. Who loves you, baby? Shaft. So, when I did my most anticipated films of 2019, kind of one of the dark horse movies that I promoted was Son of Shaft. It's a sequel coming out this year where you have the return of Samuel Jackson as Shaft, you have Richard Roundtree back as the Uncle Shaft, the original Shaft, and they're going to introduce a son. And I was when talking about it, I was like, man, I need to rewatch Shaft because I've always loved this movie. I went and I realized that I never even bought the fucking thing. I went to my shelf and said, who the fuck stole my movie? I would have bet money that I had it, but I didn't. So I ordered it off Amazon, finally rewatched it, and I love this movie to death. It's a very, it's a cop movie. It doesn't really take a lot of turns that you wouldn't expect it to. You have a very early Christian Bale, like American Psycho era Christian Bale playing this racist guy. And Shaft is trying to bring this guy to justice. And it's mostly just Samuel L. Jackson's performance as Shaft that makes me love it because he's just perfect. He's got the attitude, he's got the humor. There's so many quotable lines in this movie. I have a blast with it, and I hope that Son of Shaft is at least as on par with this one as far as the performance of Samuel Jackson and that character, because it's a very good action movie, cop movie, drama, and everything like that all along with it, but just the performance of Samuel Jackson is what makes me love this. So go out and buy it if you have not seen it. You're the disease, and I'm the cure. Cobra. Cobra is a classic because not only is this a classic cop movie, it also is kind of a slasher movie all kind of molded into one. This is the Scream Factory release that has kind of the upscaling. It has all the nice new little nifty features. Had to buy it. I love Sylvester Stallone and I love Cobra. If you have not seen this, because it kind of floated under the radar for a lot of people that weren't like big Stallone fans, this is worth checking out. It's not like you look at the poster and you think it's this ridiculous cop movie. It kind of is to a degree, but it's got a lot more elements to it that I think a lot of people would enjoy, especially in the horror genre. So go out and buy it. Red and Red 2. I will be honest, I bought this because I was on a Bruce Willis high after seeing Glass, and I said, you know what, I don't have the Red movie, so let me go ahead and get that. So I bought these. I really enjoyed the first one. I have not seen the second one. I don't know where my thoughts would be on Red because I have not seen it since it came out, but as it stands right now, Red is a high see it on Netflix because it's just this fun, ridiculous little PG-13 action movie, and Red 2 I've never seen. So there you go. These two right here, well, I'll do them one at a time. I've yet to watch this movie, but I was looking online, there was this release going on with these little VHS slip covers of some classic films. Happy Birthday to Me was a slasher that I had heard talked about quite a bit in Killer Flicks. Have yet to see it. I think that the poster is pretty iconic and pretty cool, so I bought it to check it out. Haven't got a chance to yet. This one, I've seen numerous times. Last Action Hero, one of my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger films. It felt very ahead of its time because nobody really was in on the joke when it came out. It was a gigantic flop, but this is one of my favorites. I think it's hilarious. I think it's awesome. It's quotable. It's iconic for me. I grew up in this era, and it's got a badass soundtrack. And I think I already own this movie, but I couldn't resist the VHS thing. So go out and buy this. Oh, Mandy. Oh, Mandy. If you saw my most disappointing movies of 2018, you know that I was not as high on this as everybody else. I totally acknowledge this is a beautiful made movie. It is a very well made movie, a very well acted movie, a very well cinematography, especially the cinematography is some of the best I've seen all year. But it's weird. It's very weird and it's very long. And the first half of it is slow as fuck. It meanders a lot. So this is a movie that's made for a particular movie fan, and I'm not that movie fan. So for most of you out there, this is probably a go out and buy it all day long. For me, it's a see it on Netflix and an unenthusiastic see it on Netflix because it's a movie I'll probably never watch again. I might give it another shot, but it just doesn't do it for me. I appreciate this movie more than I actually like it, but I know I'm in the minority with that, so there you go. 8mm. This is a movie that my dad took me to the theaters to see whenever it came out in, where the fuck's it, 1999, so I was 9 years old. This is one of two movie experiences I remember along with From Dusk Till Dawn where my dad took me to see this movie that looked innocent enough-ish from the trailers, and then you see all this sex and, you know, murder and like, it goes really far with the R rating. The whole movie, my dad was like, cover my eyes and cover my ears. But fast forward to an adult, and this is actually a damn good underrated movie. It goes into some wild directions. So if you're not into like, if you have an aversion to sexual content, this goes pretty extreme into like the porn and the snuff film industry and everything like that. But it's a pretty crazy movie. You got Nicolas Cage. He's a private investigator. He's hired by this very rich woman whose husband just died. She found a snuff tape in his safe, and she hires him to find out if it's actually real. And it is. You find out very early on that it's real, but he goes into this investigation trying to figure out where the tape came from, who made it, who's the victim in it, and it just goes in all kinds of crazy directions. It's a very cool, tense, and pretty brutal movie in a lot of ways, so go out and buy this one. Highly recommend it. High tension. This green is probably not showing up very well, so I'll stick it right here because the green screen trickery. If you've seen my review for this, I do have a full review for this. You guys know my thoughts. This was a go out and buy it up until the last 15 minutes, and it dropped it down to a skip it. This is a movie that I think has a lot of things going for it. It has the brutality, it has the tension, like the name gives. It has a very interesting storyline going on between your two girl main characters. It has a very brutal, unapologetically brutal killer, and they have some very creative ways for making you feel that way very early on in the film. But the twist at the end just does not work for me at all. I've heard every explanation under the sun for why it does work. I'm glad if you can look at this movie and see the twist as a way to wrap the story up that's actually a satisfying way, then good for you. I'm glad you enjoy the movie. For me, it ruins everything the movie had going for it. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. You can justify it any way you want, and I can appreciate that way of kind of looking at it, but even rewatching the film with that perspective, it just doesn't, the gears don't fit together for me that way. So this is unfortunately a skip it when it could have been a go out and buy it. Walking Tall. This is a movie that I've always liked quite a bit, and they just re-released it with this new cover and everything, and I saw it on Amazon. I was like, I don't think I own that movie, so I picked it up. I wish The Rock would go back and do some more movies like this once in a while, because he's the summer blockbuster guy. You get movies like Skyscraper, Jumanji, Hobbs and Shaw. I miss when he would do things like this and Driver and Snitch once in a while. This is a remake to, I believe it had 3 movies in it, an older series about Buford Pusser. Is actually a real story where the sheriff, this guy got brutalized by these guys in this town that he used to live in, and he runs for sheriff and cleans up the crime in town. It's basically the same thing here, a little bit more Hollywoodized, but it's a very good action movie, a very good kind of thriller in some aspects. I think The Rock is very good in it. I actually think that Johnny Knoxville is pretty damn good in this too. I don't really think that he's a guy that's ever done any serious acting aside from his like jackass style movies like Action Point and Bad Grandpa. But he's pretty damn funny in this, and he's pretty good. So I would like to see him do more stuff like this, but it's been so long, I guess he's not going to. But I like this one quite a bit. It's a short movie. I don't even think it's an hour and a half long. It gives you exactly what the movie it says it's going to deliver. I enjoy it quite a bit. I'd say go out and buy it. Venom 4K. This is a movie that was kind of love or hate this year. You had people that think that, you know, it's a garbage and it's not on the level of the MCU and everything else. And you had people like me that walked in and just had a really good time with it. The movie definitely feels like it's about 7 years too late as far as the style and the approach, but I really enjoyed Tom Hardy as the character. I enjoyed Tom Hardy's interaction with Venom. I thought some of the action scenes were really cool. I was up for the story. Villain's pretty weak. Final fight's pretty weak, but overall, I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I took my kids to see it. I had fun throughout pretty much the whole time. So on the lower end of the spectrum, I would say go out and buy Venom. Guess what time it is? Yeah. I bought the movie that everybody says I hate. Halloween 2018. What more can I possibly say about this movie? Let me just wrap up my thoughts quickly. I have video on top of video on top of video about this fucking movie since October. I think this movie has a lot of very, very, very good things about it, but there are also some very, very, very frustrating things about it. And as far as a Halloween film, it does land somewhere in the middle for me. If you love it, congratulations. You have a great Halloween movie last year, and hopefully you get a great sequel out of it. If you hate it, I don't quite understand the hate, but I can understand the frustrations. Maybe you're just more frustrated than me. Totally respect that. This movie lands in the middle for me. I would give it a very enthusiastic see it on Netflix because I think that as a slasher movie in general, it does a lot of things right that most of them get wrong, but as a story, as a script, it has a lot of problems for me. So there is my quick little thoughts on Halloween 2018. And hopefully I don't have to talk about it again until the sequel comes out. Here's one I didn't get a chance to review even though I saw it in theaters, Bad Times at the El Royale. This is actually a pretty cool movie. I think that it has really good performances in it. It has a very cool style to it. It has an interesting story where you have all these strangers meeting up at this hotel and where you get into the movie's biggest strength and its biggest weakness at the same time. This is Tarantino fan film through and through. Not to say that fan film in a negative light, like it feels cheap. It doesn't. It's a very high production, but this feels like somebody trying to blow Quentin Tarantino. It's Drew Goddard. It's the guy, I believe it's Drew Goddard. Is that his name? Drew Goddard. It's the guy that did Cabin in the Woods. So you know the style, kind of, his style of humor, his style of action. And it just feels, it's a movie that's told out of order, multiple perspectives, how they all come together at the end in this bloody climax. It's very enjoyable. But it feels too on the nose Quentin Tarantino for me, to the point where I'm just like, you could have scaled that back a little bit. You could have put your own style into it a little bit more and made this almost a perfect movie, one of the more underrated, maybe even one of my top 10 movies of the year. But about halfway through the film, I started to get a little annoyed at how on the nose, to the 10th degree, Quentin Tarantino, not really rip-off, but just inspiration taken to the nth degree that this was. So this is just barely missing the go out and buy it. Like, it's a very, very, very high enthusiastic see it on Netflix for that one element alone. Very cool story, especially with Chris Hemsworth, very cool acting and characters in here. I think most people will enjoy it. It's just that Quentin Tarantino on the nose shit that just, it annoyed me a little bit. White Boy Rick. This is a movie that nobody fucking talked about this year. Me and Holly went to go see this a couple of weeks after it hit theaters. This is a good movie. It's very good. It's a movie that is not trying to be anything more than what it is. It's telling a very interesting, true story about White Boy Rick. This is a guy that, as a kid, was kind of drawn into this FBI investigation of the drug world. The FBI utilizes him as this informant and then fucks him over. So I'm not going to give too many spoilers about where the story goes, but Matthew McConaughey is very good in it. The main kid that plays White Boy Rick is very good in it. It has a few cliches with this type of storyline in it where there's not a whole lot of surprises along the way, but it's a very good story. So I recommend seeing this, see it on Netflix. It's not a movie that is going to get a whole lot of praise. That's why there wasn't a whole lot of people talking about it, but for what it is, I think it's an enjoyable film, so check it out. Where am I at here? Okay. Again, another film that I wish I had the chance to see before I did this video, and that is Starman. And again, just like BlacKkKlansman, I am buying this, aside from the fact that it's John Carpenter, 100% off of the recommendation of Brian Lomax. This was like his third favorite John Carpenter film. It's straight sci-fi, so it's a very different film than things like Halloween and the Fog. This is the Scream Factory release, so that already has my money because I love what Scream Factory does. So I look forward to checking this out very soon, just have not had a chance to yet. This is a movie that I have no interest in watching, so I probably never will, but I bought it for Holly, and I do have it as a part of my collection, so I'm going to show it to you, and that is The Spy That Dumped Me. I have no idea what this fucking movie's about. It has Mila Kunis. She's fine as hell. It has Kate McKinnon. Not a big fan of her, especially in Ghostbusters. I'm assuming maybe one's a spy, one's a regular chick. I really have no idea. Probably not going to rate this one. Sorry. On to the last three, and these are the big box sets that I got, mostly for Christmas. One of them I just bought myself because it was at a ridiculously low price, but my dad got me Westworld Season 2. I was a pretty big fan of the first season, have not seen any of Season 2 yet, so I look forward to checking this out. Just got to get some free time, but it was a very cool, dark, and futuristic, ballsy take on that original movie Westworld, so I look forward to seeing what Season 2 is. Holly bought me The Shield, the complete collection here. This is the complete series. It was finally released on Blu-ray. For the longest time, they said they were not going to release this on Blu-ray because it was filmed in, you know, in a way that they couldn't upscale it to Blu-ray. I don't remember exactly the terminology that they used, but for years they said it was impossible to bring to Blu-ray. Well, they worked on it, and they worked on it, and they worked on it. It's a project that I've heard about for almost 2 years, and it's finally here. I've watched most of Season 1, and it looks damn good on Blu-ray. The Shield is easily in my top 10 shows of all time. It might even sneak into my top 5 shows of all time. I think it's fucking awesome. Season 2 and Season 5 especially are some of the best TV you're ever going to watch in your life, so I look forward to going through the rest of the series, but this is a huge go out and buy it for me. Not only because it's on Blu-ray, because it's a great series, and if you have not seen it yet, this is worth every dollar. So check that out. And it's a pretty badass little set. And the last one, most of which I have not seen hardly any of these movies. Maybe that's a cinematic crime, maybe not. But the James Bond collection. This was on sale for like 60 bucks. 24 movies from Sean Connery all the way up to Daniel Craig, every single Bond film, and I have not seen most of them. The vast majority of them. I've seen all the Pierce Brosnans, I've seen all the Daniel Craigs, everything before that, spotty at best. So I look forward to, it's probably gonna take me a long time to getting through at least most of these. You know, maybe I'm bored one day, I'll throw in Moonraker, the one that everybody says is horrible, I'll throw in, you know, fucking Goldfinger and everything. But like I said, this is more for a collector's aspect. It feels like a series that I should own, and it's a series that is normally like 100, 150 bucks, and it was like $60, so that was like a no-brainer for me. Double click that bitch. So I have no rating for that because there's 24 different movies. Well, that's it, guys. That is the return of Off the Shelves. Please let me know down in the comment section below if you want to see more of these videos, or if this does not really interest you that much. This is kind of a test. I'm not going to promise that this is going to be every single month, but it just depends on how this video does. If this has really good views and everybody seems to like it and they welcome the return of it, I will definitely do it every single month. If this seems like kind of like my unboxing videos I do once in a while where nobody really cares, probably not going to stick around too much. So vote with your like button and vote with your comments, people. Let me know down below. Have you gotten any of these? Do you like any of these movies that I have not seen yet? Do you hate any of these? Any disagreements with any of my ratings with these, except for Halloween 2018? I'm tired of talking about it. Put all your thoughts down in the comment section below, guys, and we will talk about them. Please like and share this video. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. If you want to check out some of my social media links, such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or Spreadshirt for Cody Leach t-shirts and other merchandise designed by the great Woody Bowen, as well as my Patreon page, which is the best way to give back to this channel and help this channel grow while getting cool exclusive content for your eyes only. So check all that out, guys. And if you want to check out some more of my videos, including past episodes of Off the Shelves, you can check that out by clicking right over here.